Hello again, everybody. It's Harry Boxer, the technical trader at techtrader.com. It's Thursday, the 1st of September. These are the charts of the day, and what we do every Thursday, of course, review the swing trades, a lot of which have gotten stopped out because of the market pullback, and that's what stops are for. But it's never a pretty sight and never makes us happy, of course. But that's why we want to protect ourselves. Here's for example, AEH chart, which was a great swing. When it broke out there, we put it on. It popped and wedged, and then it ran beautifully. So net, the stock went from about 10 or so to about 19. It then came down sharply. It's been down every day for the last 5 days, and it's done a perfect Fibonacci 0.375 fib retracement near a support zone right there. So I'd love to see it hold here or somewhere near that 50-period moving average in that zone, and maybe start a new uptrend. We'll see. And perhaps the angle will change and look a little bit more like this and that. If that's the parallel line that it's heading for, then it's possibly a much better play, particularly once it starts moving and gets back over resistance near the 15 range. APEN also popped, wedged. We put a swing on it. It went from about the 5 range up to almost 7, traded up to 689, pulled back in an orderly fashion to the 50, and it did a nice fib retracement as well. So some of these stocks may be setting up for bigger, longer-term moves if they hold these current levels. You might see something like that underway. This one also, I'd like to see it above 6 with energy before you get involved. It should have already been stopped and are interested in go back in. APRN broke out, popped, ran up to the target, and then spiked, broke out, big volume, and reversed hard. We do not want this one underneath 475. That's going to be a stop. If it should hold and move back up again, you might retest 7.5 and get up to 9 or better. Axsm, breakaway gap, we went long. It ran up to the target, first target at resistance, pulled back and tested the rising 50 and exploded from the 35 range all the way up into doubling to more than 70, near 72. Great swing trade for us, and that stock looks like it's continuing, although the current pullback looks fairly muted. It might extend since there's more room down here near the trend line. CGC, popped, double topped in that 4.25, 435 range, was unable to follow through and has backed off. We're right on support on this one. Your stop has to be under the 30508 area where the 50-day moving average is in lateral price support. CHPT, pop, broke out, did very well, and then backed right off hard. Now it held support and bounced again, but when it got the resistance, it backed off once again. Today it was down about 5%. So you don't want to see this thing get below the platform of support here around 14. That's where your stop is. In addition, that might be your long-term trend line. If you look at it that way, then perhaps this is nothing more than a bull wedge, and it'll break out and run again. So we're waiting for over 17 with a target of 21.22. Coupang broke out. We put a swing on it. It reached my target in a 5-way move. Big reversal bar here. It's come down to support and right on it, by the way. Any further damage, you need to be out of it. DraftKings, a nice parallel channel. It broke out. We put a swing on it, reached the target. This has not only come down, but failed to bounce through support. It is now a secondary support. Any further damage, and it's done. If you're not stopped now, you need to stop under 15. DK now, beautiful breakout with big volume. I thought that was going to trigger a bigger move. It did not. The next day it failed, rolled over, and has been stopped. ESPR breaks through a triple, quadruple top and runs hard, forms a wedge. And today bounced beautifully, up about 7% in a really lousy market. Looking forward to see if this can make it up to 9 and then 11. Ford, well, we put a swing on it when it broke through, pulled back and tested and started to move. It's gone from about 12.75 to 16.68, about 4 points. Pulled back and it's coiling. Today's low is key for me. We need to hold 14.75. The next targets are 17, 18.5, and 20. FTCH broke out with a big bang on volume, looking like out of a beautiful base pattern, looking like it was going to extend into that 15 and 18 range, but it did not. Immediately pull back. Believe it might be stopped. I'll double check my numbers. Today's reversal of that level might be key. Watch today's low for support around 9. INMD broke out. We put a swing on it. It ran nicely for a week and then backed off. Now it's an orderly retrace, but it's back to support and trend line, so it needs to hold it right there ideally. Next resistance and target 34.5, 3/4, and then 40. INVZ pop broke out. We put a swing on it as well. Kept running until a week and a half later. It reversed near 620. It's come down hard. Today testing the 50-day and lateral price support as well as the gap, 3 support levels. And no wonder it had an engulfing reversal day to the upside. From 453 to 510, it finished right there. Should follow through. Next target, 6.25. Jovial Aviation broke out of a beautiful coil with a nice pop. Didn't really realize that the volume wasn't as strong as it should be. Stock got the resistance and backed right off. Any further damage from here, and it's done. I need it back over 590, and then maybe a run to 7.25. KNX, the trucker, inverse head and shoulder breakout. We put a swing on it. It actually met the target, pulled back and bounced. It broke down underneath price, moving average, and trend line support as well. It's as far as you can let it go. Today's low. Stop under 49. NEO, inverse head and shoulder breakout. We put a swing on it. It backed off a flag and then took off. Nice move for a short, low price stock. It made it from about the 9.5 range to nearly 13. Now the pullback. It's an orderly one, but it needs to hold support around the 9.5 range. Ntnx also broke out. Looked like it was going to fly. Had a big engulfing reversal bar to the upside. Finished right there at the channel. Couldn't make it through though. Pre-wave corrected pullback. This one absolutely needs to hold 11.75. Ntnx broke out today with a major thrust in this market to watch this go up 5 points. Told me a lot about the strength in this one. For now, it met target number 1 and resistance, I should say. But we're more interested in what it may do in the future at 26, 29, and 33. PagSeguro also with a big pop a week ago, and it looked like a breakout, big volume, and then it turned right back down, fell back. Still above support, but dangerous that it may fail. Keep careful eye on it. Plug exploded. We put a swing on it, ran right to the target, pulled back, double top there, and rolled back to support. Needs to hold it right about where it is. Today's low anyway. I would say under 25, 45.50, I'd be out of it. Your targets are going to be 31, 36, 45. If the market cooperates, of course. Rhythm, best swing of the year, probably one of them. It broke out here. We put a swing on it. It's run from the mid-single digits to the high 20s, a 5-fold increase. And it coiled and broke out again today in a lousy market. Up 290, 13% pop in a bad day. Excellent relative strength. Probably going higher, looking for mid-30s. Seed, a little disappointing. The action today surprised me a bit. The actual angle here tells me that that wedge may have broken to the downside, and it's on support. I don't want this under 9. If it does, you're probably going to quickly see 860 and maybe the trend line at around 8.25. I think it would be a strong buy down there, but you may have to stop it out temporarily. Very thin stock. SKYT broke out. We put a swing on it. It was one of our better swings this year. Went from the mid-8s to over 20. About 150% gain in about 5 weeks, and then pulled down hard. I tested the trend line, unable to bounce. It broke through, and it's on the 50-day moving average and a lateral price support right there. Key point for it. Nice fib retracement, but will it hold? DCDA broke out right there. Back up for a day and then exploded. It's forming a nice consolidation. My target is 17. Support 11. Ntnx broke out here, coiled for a couple of weeks, and then really broke out. Pulled back and tested the trend line again, formed the flag, and now forming yet another flag. I'm looking for at least mid-range around 64.5. TPIC broke out of a beautiful base and ran hard for a week or two. Pulled back now, it's forming a wedge, as you can see. Again, another example of a pullback stock that's in jeopardy of breaking key support at 16, 16.25. If it doesn't break down and pops to 20, 20.5, I would expect to retest 24.5 and maybe make a run towards 28. Uber, something new from today. I like the base, the breakaway gap on volume, the run up to resistance, and now the orderly retrace falling wedge. Today, it reversed off support, so it's tight support might be necessary under, say, 27 and a half, 3/4, where support is. But if it gets above 29, 90, 30, then I would look for 33 and 37. VERV, another good swing that popped out here. We put a swing on it, ran beautifully. Pulled back, popped and double topped, falling wedge, made a new high, broke out. A week ago to 43. Now it's backed off a little bit. It's right on the trend line. Needed it to hold and extend. My extension target on this one is about 55. And finally, little Volcon popped. Looked like it was going to go today. It had a bearish engulfing day at the end, which is quite negative, I think. Be very careful if this stock hasn't triple topped an intraday, triple day top here. But if it does get through 345, my targets are going to be 4 1/4, a half, and 5 1/2. That's it for tonight. Have a great evening. I'll talk to you tomorrow. TGIF.